Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters from anime, series or movies such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86 and today from Naruto Shippuden I present to you Konan. This is a statue done by Pirate, China and Pickstar Studios. So here you can see their logos. Here's the dimensions of the statue along with the weight, and I have number 367 out of 403 from this collection. The box is taped up with the logo. Now here's the front of the box. I honestly, when I first opened this, I thought it was a portrait of Konan just because of how it was framed and all that, but it's a very beautiful illustration of the statue. But it's actually both the front and the back side of the box that feature this very beautiful illustration. On the side of the box it gives you some warnings. On the other side it basically says Konan, again with the logo of Pirate and Pickstar Studios. And this is a 1/6 scale statue. On the top side of the box you have the Naruto logo. Once you remove it from the box, you can see that it comes with two Velcro straps that also have the logo of Pirate China and Pickstar Studios. As you can see, it's very huge, and towards the center you see an imprint of the logo. The packaging is divided into 3 sections. So this is the first top section that outlines some of the major pieces of the statue. For example, the wings. It's got a case there. It's got the body of Konan along with the arms, the weapon, and the pedestal. Now when you go into the second layer, now you see the effects parts of the water, which is the base of the statue. It comes with 2 plaques that resemble the ninja headbands, along with the paper tornado. There you can see the instructions and everything else. Once you remove everything, here's a close-up look of all the different parts. Here you can see the certificate. It's got a plaque for you to insert it, the instruction booklet. I opened the case so you can see what was in it. Here's a close-up of the wings, the base, the 2 plaques that resemble the 2 different ninja headbands, Konan's body, the 2 expressions that come with her, along with all the other sections that come with the statue. So it is a lot of stuff that was packaged. Not to mention it comes with a remote and a USB. It also comes with a metal plate and what appears to be 2 cards that have the Konan illustration. Here's a close-up of the instructions. Here's the front page that has the illustration of Konan. Again, here's kind of like a catalog. So this is the same stuff that was on the side of the box when I first showed it to you. Going on the second page, it still has the same warnings, but on the right side now it's all translated in English. Flipping over to the next page, it tells you all the product content of the statue, the certificate, it's got the warnings, and it's got the social media contacts. Now here's an exploded overview of what's in the contents, which is what I showed earlier. Now let's take a look at the instructions. Overall, it looks very simple in assembling it. Here you can see that it goes step by step on how to assemble the statue. Now here it comes towards the end, and there you have it. And this art illustration looks really good. Here's a close-up of the bottom of the base just so you can see it before I fully assemble it, because the statue does look very heavy. Here once again you can see that I got number 367 out of 403. Here's a close-up of the statue. This is the first expression I chose to display her with. So this is the more intense expression that basically, to me, it captures all the feelings and emotions that she was feeling as she was fighting Obito. So for me, this is kind of where I feel that the idea and the inspiration came for the statue, where you have Konan as she was about to go fight Obito. Here you can see that she's got the giant wings, resembling to her nickname, Lady Angel, which is something that Jiraiya heard when he first infiltrated the village of the rain, where he was trying to get details of what was going on in that particular village, where he was under the impression that there was still a civil war going on with Hanzo. But to his much surprise, he discovered that things were a lot different, especially when he started hearing gods and Lady Angel. And I remember in one of the scenes where he asked one of the ladies what was the origami of the angel, and she basically gave her the description of it.
Do you know what that thing is over there?
Huh? Oh, that's Lady Angel. Didn't you know? They say if you hang an origami of Lady Angel at the door, your shop will always have good fortune.
As you can see, the statue is very tall. One of the things that make it seem really tall is the way that they did the wings, which makes the statue very beautiful. So at the bottom of the base, you have the origami flowers surrounding it, and then towards the centerpiece, you have the ninja headband. And on this one, I chose to go with the one that I believe it says Konan. Keep in mind that they gave you two, so this is the first one. And as you look at the statue, you can see Konan coming from the center where the water is going around her paper jutsu, and she made her paper origami resemble angel wings, and it just makes it look really beautiful. I really like the details on it. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. If you look at her arm, she also got the spear. One thing to note though, as a cautionary thing, is the statue does have a lot of sharp edges, and you really want to be careful with the one on the wing, because if you notice it, it almost faces you and is very unnoticeable, especially if you forget about it when approaching the statue. Just by looking at it, you can see that it's really sharp. The other thing that you want to be careful with is the spear that she's holding. That is also very sharp. The other thing is the statue is also a little bit delicate, and it does have a decent weight to her. But the details are phenomenal. I really like what Pickstar Studios has done here. And honestly, assembling the statue was very easy. I would give it a 1 out of 10. I didn't struggle with any of the sections for it. All the pieces were dimensionally correct. They all went there fine. Unlike when I built some of the Sune statues, where some of the dimensions are way off, where they don't really fit and you have some inconsistencies, this one to me is put very well, and it was really thought out. I don't see any quality issues. I don't see anything. To me, the statue is very beautiful and it looks really good, and it's done with quality. For me, the statue really captures the definition of Konan, and I really like how Pickstar Studios implemented this vision, where you have Konan doing her origami jutsus coming out of the water. And again, to me, this resembles the scene when she went up against Obito. In case you don't remember, Obito went back looking for the Renegon eyes that Nagato was holding, where Konan was expecting him. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. And that was the thing with Konan. Most of her jutsus were origami oriented, so she was able to make shurikens out of paper. Same thing with the wings. The wings she was able to use as daggers, where she would constantly launch a barrage attack. And she was also able to do the paper bombs, which is how she was trying to take out Obito. The other thing that I liked is that when she wanted to, she was able to turn the sheets of paper into butterflies, which basically looked really good when she was doing her disappearing jutsus, as she was able to transport through space. For this scene, I swapped out the head with the other head sculpture that shows Konan more into her jutsu. One thing to notice on this one, you can see that her face is starting to deteriorate into the paper jutsu, where in the other one it was more of an emotional capture of what she was feeling, all those emotions going through. To me, this one, she seems more on the attack, where she is about to disintegrate into the sheets of paper, which goes against, when you look at her sleeve, you can see that on the right arm, the sleeve is mostly already starting to turn into paper, and same thing for the bottom as well. And I really like the details that Pickstar Studio incorporated in this statue. You can really see how each individual section is divided, simulating the sheets of paper, similar to how Konan was represented in the anime of Naruto Shippuden. The other thing I did with this one is I also turned the light. One thing to notice, she does come with a remote control. The remote control takes a CR2025 battery, and no, it's not included. I wish it was. For this one, I had to run to the store and get it, just so I could show you the light up effect parts. The other thing that I noticed is that it's not really mentioned in the instructions. It does mention its presence, but it doesn't tell you how to use it or anything. It does come with two different settings. So the setting that you're seeing here is an oscillating one, where it seems to pulsate in a circle. So as you can see, as the statue is spinning around, you can also see that the LED is turning clockwise. The other setting that it has is a steady state. So for this 360, I chose to do the oscillating one because to me, it gives it more character to the statue than just having the light effect being plain. The other thing that I noticed that I didn't really like is I thought it had like a battery where you could charge it, similar to what we've seen on the first 4 studios that they have done with the Pokemon statues. But on this one, the remote control works independently, but it's not like you can charge the base or anything and then remove the cable. You actually have to have the cable powered up in order to see the light effects when you use the remote control to control it. So the remote control is able to turn on and off the effects as well as choosing the settings. There's no button, there's nothing else on the base that gives you to give you the on, off, or anything like that. It has to be plugged into the wall outlet if you really want to see this beautiful light up effect. And as you can see, it looks really good on the figure. It actually works. It makes it more animated and it brings the statue more to life, just so you can see what it's capable of doing. To me, Konan was one of those ninjas from the Akatsuki that was really strong. If you keep up with her, she was able to beat Sasori with no issues when she was trying to bring him to join the Akatsuki at the beginning. The other thing to note that kind of left it questionable was how she would have really fared off against Jiraiya. I know that Pain went in there and interfered. The other thing to note is that out of all the Akatsuki members and out of all the Naruto characters, she was one of the very few that basically came to beating the crap out of Obito single-handedly. And that particular scene where she met up with them, she basically knew everything about his jutsus, especially how he was able to go through matter. Right there, it showed you how clever and cunning edge Konan really was. The only way Obito was able to defeat her was by him using Uzanagi, where he lost the left eye. And that was the only edge that Obito had on Konan. If it wasn't for that, Konan hands down would have won. And that was something that she wasn't aware of when she was fighting Obito. But other than that, she had all his moves clocked. And to me, that was one of the really good fights that Konan was actually seeing. I know in the other ones we didn't really get to see her in action, but in this one basically just showed all the skills that she was capable of doing. You got to see a little bit when she was fighting Jiraiya, but that was interrupted by Pain. But watching her going against Obito, that was something else where you really got to see her in full action. I know it was kind of sad because Obito at that point basically told her everything that had been going on and how he was the main person behind the scenes. For this scene, I have the lights full on with the strobing light, just so you can see how bright the LED really is in pure darkness and how it looks as it moves through the figure. This is the second setting where the light is steady state. Again, just so you can see how really bright it is. And now it's just giving us bright continuous light.
Once again, the sky is weeping.
One thing that I like that Pickstar Studios did is that because they gave us two different expressions for Konan with the face sculptures, they also gave us a pedestal. So the pedestal is able to house the sculpture that you're not using on the main statue. So for this one, it's Konan's face sculpture as it's starting to disintegrate into the paper jutsu. And to me, this one matches better with this particular pedestal because it shows Konan going into the paper jutsu. As you know, Konan's favorite thing was origami. I really like the details on this boss, it's really nice, and I like it that Pickstar Studios featured it, which is something that I can't say the same thing for some of the Sune statues that I had in the past. Where these companies, they give you different head sculptures, but they don't give you any extra pedestals or anything. So if you're not using the other ones, you're just storing them back in the box. Where in this one, you have the ability to display both head sculptures, which is something that I really like. This is the second one with a more serious expression, and this particular gaze, it just really captures all the emotions and anger that she felt, which to me expresses the feeling she had when she was about to fight Obito, as she was mourning the deaths of both Yahiko and Nagato. Follow me on IG at Titandel86.
Right.
In case you're wondering how this pedestal compares to the Itachi one in the Kisame that was released by Sume, you can see that they scale very well. I really like that you're able to do this, and both Pickstar Studios along with Sune really thought about this, that if you got different expressions, they also gave you the pedestals so you could actually make your use of the secondary head that you're not using for the full body statue. So that is something that I really like that they did here, and as you can see, they both complement each other, regardless whether you're just following the Sune statues of having all the Akatsuki members through them, or vice versa to Pickstar. Here, based on what I see here, you could actually mix and match, just like I have here. It would have been nice if they did the same thing for the Sasori statue. In case you haven't seen my review, I suggest you go check it out. On that one, he only came with one head sculpture, so I can see why they didn't give you the pedestal for it, but it would have been better if they would have given us options. This is the close-up of the metal plaque that came with this Konan statue that Pickstar Studios provided, which honestly to me this goes above and beyond just to add that luxury to the full statue set. Not only do you have the pedestal, you have the full-blown statue of Konan, and it also comes with this nice metal plaque that tells you the edition and who the character is. One thing to note, it's not a thin piece of metal or anything. This actually has some decent weight to it, and it comes with a supporting stand that is also just as thick. So you could see that they really thought about this one, and honestly I really like what Pickstar Studios did here. To me, they went above and beyond what I was expecting, and also based on what I've seen on the other statues that I've done on this channel so far.
Spare us your words of warning and of fear. They are wasted on us.
Here's a close-up of the statue just so you can see the details. So here's a close-up of the waves, and if you look closely you can see the paper bumps, which is a nice neat detail. Here's a close-up of the wings. As you can see how they start out as plain sheets of paper, but towards the end they end up looking like daggers. Another thing that I like about Pickstar Studios is how they did their certificate. Their certificate feels like an actual genuine one compared to the ones that I've seen with Sune or other statues where it just seems like a printed out piece of paper with a sticker on it and an ink signature. This one actually looks really fancy. Same thing with the bottom, and here you can see her coming out of the center. I really like the details, they're just amazing. Especially the wings. The wings really make the statue really beautiful. Here you can see the rod that she has, and again the rod is very delicate and it's very sharp, so just be very mindful of it. Here's a close-up of the Akatsuki cloak. Here's what it looks like to the bottom, so you can kind of see how her legs are exposed as she's jumping out of the paper origami tornado. Honestly, to me it just looks like a vortex. Again, in case you missed it, I am on the quest of getting all the Akatsuki members in statue form. So this is my third one. The first one that I had was Kisame and Itachi. Then I did Sasori, so here's Konan. I do have the Deidara one, so eventually I'll get to that one. And I am also waiting for the paint statue. So once that gets here, I eventually will show it. But overall, I'm really liking what Pickstar Studios did. And to me, comparing it to Sune, I really want to say that this statue is superior. Just based on what I've seen, I didn't see any quality marks or anything. The statue looked very solid. I like how she was posed, and I really like the theme that they chose, which basically gives you the story of who Konan was. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. So if you're able to get the statue, I really recommend it. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.